Okay, here we go. Random miscellaneous update. I'm going to start working on the doors now. They're still all together. You can see this is the driver's door. Focus, there we go. There's rust there, but it's all surface rust. You know, it looks worse than it is. It'll sandblast and it'll clean up pretty nice. Otherwise, I mean, that's really about it. Power windows, power locks. And then the couple things I gotta see if I can get made is that guy, because this thing had the Crown Coupe package on. See if I can get that made. I've got a local sign guy I think I can do that with. The door sticker, there's a company that makes those. That shouldn't be a problem. And that little guy, I think I can get those aftermarket without too much problem either. I'm trying to have that copied from that dirty thing is going to be a little tougher. So hopefully I can get that somewhere else. Passenger door, about the same. Oh, look at it. Plenty of paint on there from the factory, at least that spot. This one's maybe a little bit worse. You know, it's getting a little bit fat right about there. And maybe a little bit over here in a couple spots, but I think that's all going to clean up just fine. And there's a crease in this one that goes from all the way about there, almost the whole length of the door. So, but I will. It's a pretty flat crease, easy to do. And then quickly on the shell, the thing I am pretty happy with right now. Look at that. Well, it's a donut spare. I'm not happy with the donut spare, although it is nice to have on there. But the axle's in. Look at that, all bolted up. Looks beautiful right now. I grabbed the donut spares because they're hard, skinny little tires. They'll roll around in the shop really easy. So that's kind of a big deal. And that's about. Sorry, as I walk around with this thing. So there it kind of sits with stuff scattered all over the place. That's about all I've got for this very foggy last day of August 2017. There'll be more hopefully soon when I get a little deeper into the doors. There we go. Okay, doors have been stripped out. On the inside anyway, all the guts are out. This is the driver's door, of course. And you can see it's hard. I know it's tough to see in the video, but it's pretty stinking straight. Just little dings, and I've got them all circled. There's one, there's one, there's one. You know, there's a dozen little spots. This will be an easy door to do. Passenger door, still not bad, but certainly not as easy. Oh, that's really tough to see in the video. But it got. This side got scraped. You can see some of the scrape marks right there. So there's kind of a big flat dent here. Then it begins again or continues. That one's a little sharper right there. And then there's a few other little dings here and there. And I found a mouse nest up in this corner. And so there's a little fat spot right here where I think I might have to cut a patch in. I looked around. I didn't have any better passenger doors in stock right now, and I've got plenty of these cars, but nothing better, at least. I shouldn't say that. I have better, but they're on my own cars, so obviously that's not going to happen. There's that. The next. Okay, kind of a midway, or a midway, one of the several midways, points in the fixing the doors. This is the driver's door, obviously. Not a whole lot of damage, just a couple little dings here and there. You can see, like, there's one, and there's one, and there's one, and the camera won't focus. There we go. I've already sandblasted the underside. You can kind of see, and it's been primed just to protect it until I get it jammed. Like I said, the driver's door is pretty nice. Passenger door, as you saw from before, was a different story. Fair amount of filler in there. There was. In this corner, there was several little, you know, good-sized pinholes, you know, finger-sized, I guess, more than pinhole. So there's a patch in there, roughly about from here to here. Considerably bigger than what was really needed, but, you know, I want to make sure you get all the soft metal out of there, and that's what I did. You can kind of see this is a little bit purplish right here, bluish, whatever color you want to call that. It's a rust converter I spray on there because there was just a lot of little rock chips down there that just had a little spot of rust, and I didn't want to try to sandblast that whole bottom there, so I sprayed that on there. I've had good luck with that stuff. This is kind of the top side or the upper side, so like I say, you know, this door's taking a lot more work than the other one. Yeah, let's not do that. There we go. So I'm gonna prime it the first time, and I'm sure there's gonna be a few more dings when I block it that I've missed, because there was just a whole series all the way through here. Oh, I can feel one right there a little bit, maybe. Just little door dings and stuff, along with the big crease that went all the way kind of from there, and then it started up here again. So there it is. Okay, here we go. Got the first layer of primer sanded, and it's ready to prime again here. A little bit of a low spot there. Just a touch of one there, and a little one here. None of these are very big. I should say very deep. This one was just kind of a long, flat, shallow one. So, and you can kind of see where I sanded through the primer, which is kind of the plan. You know, and it was actually a lot straighter than it felt. This is the one that had the big crease in it, so I was actually pretty surprised at how nice it blocked out. And then over here, you know, there's a couple little dingers right there, and there's one here and one here, and you know, just really, really thin stuff. Actually, all of these on this door, I could have just heavy primed it, and they probably would have been fine, but I like doing this a little better. So anyway, that is that. Okay, here we are, ready for the last prime. Really not a whole lot to see on these doors. All you see is gray, which is good. And then over here, same way, pretty much. Oh look, it's sanded primer. How about that? And that's about it. So, one final prime, and then I can... There we go. Then I can jam them. Okay, doors are wet sanded completely, and they're obviously prepped for paint. As I walk around here and try not to trip on anything. See, they're masked off on the inside. Pretty decent, and I like to paint, there we go, tape is a little loose there. I like to paint things in the same position where they're going to hang on the car. So, would have less problems with runs and that kind of stuff if they were laying flat, but then there's the potential that the metallic wouldn't lay down the same. But, so that's that. There it is. Okay, doors are buffed and I'm about ready to put them on, as you can see. This one's sitting on my little tool here that I built. You can buy something like this commercially, but I didn't feel like paying $400 for it, so I built my own. Basically, it's one of these jack foot off of a trailer, and then I welded on some brackets so I could attach doors or bumpers. Roll it out of the way here. Hinges are on, and you see I'm not using the factory bolts yet. Just regular bolts with plastic, little plastic washers on. I cut them myself, just out of like an old plastic, you know, drink carton or whatever. So that when I'm adjusting these, I don't scratch up the hinge that bad, and whenever you put a door on, or any panel on really, you have to loosen them up and tighten those bolts about a dozen times, and then the nicely painted bolts get all scratched up. I do the same thing with the striker when I get that on, so for the same exact purpose. And there's nothing in the doors, no hardware yet. Once I get it hung, then I'll put the latch. Oops, I don't know what happened there. Once there's nothing in the door right now. Once I get it hung, I'll put the latch and the door handle in and stuff. And I have this one on, and the striker isn't 100% yet because it's gonna have to get replaced because it's kind of gross. It's all worn out, but there it is. We got pretty decent gaps in it. It's a Chrysler, so it's got big gaps. And I'll get the other door on, and the doors are done. And that will kind of, I guess, whoops, sorry, end my tutorial on doors and whatnot.